Let's ride.
Time for the words that are recited before each and every game here at Dodger Stadium. Take it away, Finn.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
What is going on, Dodgers fans? And thank you for listening to another episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast presented by the FanSided Podcast Network. Hope you're doing well out here or out there. I'm good here. This is Kevin Klein speaking. Thank you again. David Rosenthal, Jake Reiner in the house. So we got a full show as we start to just ramp up and get ready for the opening day, which is on March 30th of this year. The Dodgers play the Diamondbacks. So we got about a week left of spring training. We'll have one more big episode for you guys talking about the 2023 season, but there are a few topics to cover today. So let's start with, I guess, the most exciting news that came out Thursday afternoon. Dodgers announced James Outman will officially make the opening day roster. And if you had to chalk it up now, it looks like their position players are set. Austin Barnes, Will Smith, Freddie Freeman, Max Muncy, Miguel Rojas, Miguel Vargas, Mookie Betts, David Peralta, Chris Taylor, Trace Thompson, JD Martinez, and the last two going to Jason Hayward and James Outman. So, Jake, why don't I pass it over to you? What are your thoughts on that? And do you think that that is the 13?
I do. And this was one of the easiest slam dunks I think the Dodgers could ever do in this situation. It is about time we see James Outman on this roster given a real shot to contribute to this team. Now, whether he starts in center field and is the starting center fielder every day, or at least against right-handed pitching, that remains to be seen. But the win to start off this road to opening day is James Outman is going to be on this roster, and he's earned it in every sense of the word. This is what we've been pounding our fists on the table for, and it's great. It's a great day for him. It's a great day for the Dodgers. He continues to show not only can he handle the bat, but we saw him make a play Wednesday night where he threw a runner out at third. It's just a really awesome, exciting move for this team. And it was one of the things that I was most looking forward to this offseason, given the fact that the Dodgers didn't make any moves to answer that hole in center field. So for me, this is a huge win, and I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
You could take it to the bank that James Outman will be starting on opening day in center field for your Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm throwing the word guarantee out there, and here's why. His stats, as we're recording right now, 295 batting average, 385 on base, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs. You compare that to Jason Hayward, who should be grateful he's even on the roster, batting 200 this spring. Trace Thompson batting 074. And Chris Taylor, I guess he could be starting in center field. I forgot that, David Peralta is on the roster. But do we really want to give it to a 133 batting average and a near 50% strikeout rate? I don't think so. It's got to be James Outman. What do you think, David?
I said it a month ago. I said when we someone asked us, try to predict the opening day roster. I said James Outman was going to be starting in center field. I said I think he's going to win the job in spring training, and that's exactly what he's done in my mind. Now, we know Dave Roberts is very loyal to his players, so I think Chris Taylor could possibly get the start, although he's 9 for 44 in spring training. He's hitting 123 in spring training, leading the team in strikeouts, which is pretty much what we saw a lot of last year from Chris Taylor. And James Outman has done absolutely nothing except kill it in every single opportunity he's been given dating back to last year. So if you're a serious organization and you're seriously competing to win this division, you go with the best players at the right time. And that is James Outman. So we'll see how serious the Dodgers are. And I'm not saying to, just completely throw in the towel on Chris Taylor, but in terms of opening day, I think it would send a good message to not only James Outman, but to everybody in the Dodgers farm system that if you play well, you can get the opportunity to start and continue to play on the major league roster. So it's a no-brainer for me, especially you're going to be facing a right-handed pitcher. But who knows? I'm just happy he's on the team. And Dave Roberts did say to reporters that we wouldn't have him on the roster if he's not going to play a good amount. So you're going to see him quite frequently, whether it's on opening day or not. We'll see the loyalty card versus Chris Taylor. I think Peralta will get the start in left. So we'll see.
It's sort of like this is the spring training was the first level of competition. It was the level of competition to make the roster. And now when the season starts, that's when the second competition begins, which is for playing time. And if Chris Taylor continues to flounder like he has been this spring, it doesn't look like he's any different of a hitter than he was last season, even though he went to Driveline and has been working, since the Dodgers were eliminated from the playoffs. This is what we're going to see now, is this other competition of who's going to get playing time, because David Peralta, there's no guarantee there either. I mean, he didn't really have an incredible season last year either. So he's also a guy that needs to earn playing time. Same with Jason Hayward, same with Trace Thompson. So this competition is just continuing and it's just beginning.
Yeah, we can predict the opening day lineup in a few days, I guess. But if I had to pick one of the other outfielders, I think David Peralta is probably the second best of all the candidates right now. Batting average isn't up there, but he has it on base in the 340s, had a pretty impressive World Baseball Classic.
He did.
So I think the question is no longer who's battling for the center field spot, but who's going to be battling for the left field spot. Because in my mind, that position is still wide open. And as much as they're paying Chris Taylor, you got to earn it this season. And I hope that is just the mentality, because what we've seen out of him this spring has not been encouraging whatsoever. It's not like he's even been away from the team. He's been there all spring and hasn't looked like he's improved at all. So
yeah, I said he was 9 for 45. He's actually 6 for 45.
Flip that 9 upside down.
Yeah.
Pitchers wise, another interesting battle for the 5th spot, but I think that's a wrap. So let's get into that. Looking like Julio Urias is going to start for the Dodgers on opening day. Clayton Kershaw will be in the rotation. Noah Syndergaard, Dustin May, and with Tony Gonsolin expected to be shelved for a few weeks, I don't think this is a battle anymore. Chalk it up. That 5th spot is going to Ryan Pepiot, especially after Michael Grove's outing today. His ERA is essentially in the 5s now. Had a really rough outing. He couldn't even get out of the first. It's weird how in spring training you could take your pitcher out, then send him back in. 10-run first inning. That was a disaster. So I think that's your 5 right there. Bullpen, little iffy. You got to assume Yency Almonte will be in there. I think Phil Bickford will make it. Caleb Ferguson, Alex Vesia, the 2 lefties, Brewstar Gratterall. I would assume Shelby Miller makes the opening day roster. Evan Phillips, and that leaves 1 spot. And I think it's going to come down to, do they want to go with Michael Grove as a piggyback man, or the guy who's kind of shined as a fringe signing, Wander Suero?
Yeah.
I like Suero. I like him a lot. And especially with, I think Jimmy Nelson and Daniel Hudson are going to start the year on the IL. So that leaves another guy that you can have in that type of role. And I think Suero fits that role. But I don't know if you necessarily want to carry Michael Grove on this roster, because like you guys have said, he has had a pretty bad spring. I mean, even coming into the start today, he had an ERA over 4, well over 4, and now it's over 5 or something. Like it has not been a good for him at this stage. So I would expect that maybe they'll send him down to AAA and just kind of see what kind of season he has.
It's going to come down to one thing. Do the Dodgers want to enter this season kind of like they did last season, where they have a piggyback man? Maybe they want to ease someone like Ryan Pepiot or Dustin May to start the season and have them go 4 innings, and then you bring out Grove and you cross your fingers and hope he can give you 3 or 4 solid innings out of the pen. I would think that maybe for the first few weeks of the season that this is something that the Dodgers might be inept to do, and have it, even though Michael Grove hasn't been impressive this spring, you kind of do need a log man in your pen, especially this early in the season. But I do think Wander Suero has earned a spot, and if they don't have a spot for him now, we should see him later. But a 1.17 ERA over 8 games, it's hard to argue against that.
It's hard to have Michael Grove on this roster though, with the way he's pitched. And to be honest, he didn't really pitch that great in spot starts last season. So it's a little tricky because last season, if you remember, they started with Tyler Anderson coming out of the bullpen, piggybacking with Tony Gonsolin. And even though Tyler Anderson hadn't really had that great of a career up until that point, you knew he was a veteran, kind of serviceable starter, and you could rely on him to eat innings if need be. And he ended up, being a shit ton better than that. Michael Grove is sort of a different thing, but yeah, I obviously I don't trust it right now, him coming out of the bullpen, but I definitely obviously could see that happening.
Yeah, if it's up to me, I'm going with Suero. I mean, if you're going with Pepiot, which they're gonna go with Pepiot, he's pitched pretty well in spring. Obviously, he's had a couple rough innings or rough moments, but he's definitely the guy for the 5th spot by default. Because if we're going by talent and upside and performance, it's Gavin Stone without a doubt. But we know how the Dodgers work. Pepiot's a solid player, a solid prospect, deserves a shot. So he's going to get a shot. But I think Gavin Stone is right in the rearview mirror. I think Michael Grove is an emergency starter. I think he's, like I said, I think he's going to be kind of the Mitch White role where you call him up if you need a quick start, maybe get 3 or 4 innings, maybe pitches well, maybe doesn't. But in terms of a serious rotation spot, Pepiot is going to get the shot, but Gavin Stone could not be closer on his ass. He is right behind him, waiting for an injury or an opportunity. And that dude pitched his complete ass off in spring training this year. 14
Just
strikeouts,
dominant.
2 walks, dominant, looked like he belonged every pitch of every outing. He looked like he belonged in the major leagues. So in terms of the bullpen, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to just have Grove on there in case of a piggyback start with Pepiot. I think you just let it ride with Pepiot, and you can fill in the gap with relievers and rely on the big 4 in the rotation to give you some length.
Well, the reason I say that is because odds are one of these 2 guys, whether it's May, Pepiot, or maybe even Syndergaard, they're going to go 4 or 5 innings. That's just what the Dodgers do with their guys, and this could happen on consecutive days. So do you really want to use your 4 or 5 relievers each day, or do you hope you're up 5+ runs and then you could just turn it to a guy like Grove, close it out for you?
I want to throw one name out there. Andre Jackson has had a really good spring.
So he could be the alternate.
I think he makes more sense to carry on the roster than Grove. I think Grove is a call up for a start kind of guy. And Andre Jackson hasn't had a ton of success starting, at least in the major league level, but I think he profiles wonderfully as a reliever. His changeup is perfect. I think he can go in and give you 1, maybe 2 innings and shut you down, and then that's it for him. I think he can have a legitimate role on this team and in the major leagues as a reliever, and I think we're going to see that this year. At least I hope so.
Yeah, I definitely could see that, and I agree. And let's not act like Ryan Pepiot is actually the 5th starter on this team. He might be by title, but in terms of what he's done this spring, he's been phenomenal. He has a 2 ERA. The true 5th starter right now, if we're actually going off statistics, is Noah Syndergaard. He's got a 4.60 ERA. So much talk about him trying to get into the 100-mile-per-hour velocity range. He's throwing like 90. So a lot of talk from Syndergaard, but he's still got to prove it. And the one knock on his career has always been, can he stay healthy?
Well, I just think that adds to that we're going to see Gavin Stone sooner than we think.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if one guy goes down or doesn't perform, let's say Syndergaard just doesn't have it, I think you see Gavin Stone potentially in early May. They're going to give these guys a little bit of room here, but he's going to make an impact this year.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think going into this spring, and certainly the talk around Dodger camp was Bobby Miller and what was Bobby Miller going to do this spring. And we didn't see him at all. I mean, they said he had some shoulder soreness or something. They didn't want to ramp him up. So Gavin Stone has kind of usurped him in a way this spring with his performance. I am a little disappointed though that we didn't get to see Bobby Miller in camp.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree. But yeah, I mean, Gavin Stone, he didn't have one appearance at all where he looked bad. Like,
no.
I'm pretty sure he ended the spring so far with a 0 ERA.
He did.
And what is it? 14 strikeouts over 6 2/3 innings.
Yeah.
Much talk as there is with Bobby Miller. Based off what we're seeing, Gavin Stone is without a doubt their best pitcher in the pipeline right now. So whether
How
it's
about Evan Phillips also? Just 6 innings, no runs, 6 strikeouts, just picked off right where he left off.
Light work for Evan.
Yeah.
Light work.
well, yeah, that's a whole nother debate over there of who's going to be the Dodgers closer. And I think you named him right there. It's just going to work itself out. I don't think closer by committees end up actually lasting the entire season. Usually teams that go with that are the bad teams because they don't have a solidified closer. But the odds are that Machado, Soto, or Tatis are going to come up in the 9th. You're going to need to have Evan Phillips face him. If it's the Giants, it's probably going to be, I don't even know who their best hitter at this point is because they're
Michael Conforto.
Not Conforto.
Well,
Jock,
Mike
we'll
Yastrzemski.
see.
Jock, I guess. Give me Evan Phillips against Jock Peterson.
I think that, just like the open questions about left field and somewhat center field, there's also that question at the back end of the bullpen. And I think that the Dodgers are going to use the first month or so of this season to kind of work out how they want to do this. And I agree with Kevin. Usually closer by committee is not really what you want to have the entire season. But the good thing about Evan Phillips is that he's been thrown into literally every situation possible, and there is no situation that phases him. So for the Dodgers to be able to use him in the 7th and the 8th, whenever that, crucial part of the lineup or crucial part of the game is occurring, they're going to be able to use him. But I think that they're going to throw everything out there and guys will find their roles. That's eventually what happens anyway. When you don't have a closer, is that guys just kind of fall into their roles and you kind of, have your bullpen set. So that's another competition that I think will heat up during the first month of the season.
Yeah, I think Gratterall's going to get a lot of chances there. I really do. I mean, he's the perfect closer. He's also 6 innings, no runs in spring, and if he can just get the contact down and increase the strikeouts, he
stay healthy.
Yeah, stay healthy and strike out more batters and limit the contact. He'd be the best closer in baseball.
I worry about him being relied upon as the closer because, as I just said, he doesn't stay healthy. He'll be fine for a month and then disappear for 2 months. Then he'll come back.
Daniel Hudson back soon too.
And I thought he was going to be probably the greatest challenge to Evan Phillips for the closer role, but with the knee problems that continue to plague him, I need to see him stay healthy first and let him find his rhythm because he didn't even get to have his spring training. So let's let him find his footing first, and then maybe we can talk about him getting into the closer situation, because right now he's still got a long journey ahead of him. And then the other potential closer option is Yency Almonte, but we haven't seen a lot of him yet either. So it is going to be a closer by committee for the first month plus, no doubt about it. But these things just always end up working themselves out. So that's what's going to make this season fun, I suppose. Castillo Jason, kind of what we were just talking about, but a question from him. Rate the Dodgers starting pitching staff on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being full out, we're doomed, versus 10, no worries at all. I think it's like an 8.
I was going to go 7 or 8.
I'm going to say 6.
6.
I think, I think Arias is going to be
you're a low bar guy.
Yeah, I mean, you don't got to worry about Arias. Kershaw, when he's pitching, is going to be fine. But there's a lot of question marks. I mean, Gonsolin hurt. Don't know when he's coming back. Takes forever to build up. Dave Roberts is already laying the foundations. Like, well, yeah, it's going to be a journey for him to build up. What have you been doing? What have you been doing all off season? How are you not just built up? Enough of this. You're a pitcher. Go pitch. So Kevin already mentioned the concerns with Syndergaard, Pepiot. I don't know. I'm at a 6. If you throw Gavin Stone into that, though, I would bump it up to a 7 or an 8.
I'm at a 7 because the bullpen is so good. But the reason I'm at a 7 and not an 8 is kind of what David was saying, is that the starting rotation is kind of shaky. There are a lot of question marks outside of Arias. All of the rest of them are injury prone. I mean, minus Pepiot, but throwing Gonsolin into that mix. But the bullpen I would say is a 9 or a 10 if you just isolate them.
Yeah, and the one guy I didn't mention is Dustin May, who I think is going to have an all-star season. So I'm more so concerned about the 4 and 5 spots really in the rotation.
If they're healthy, I mean that's the big question.
Yeah, I mean, Dustin May could stay healthy, I honestly feel like he might have the best season of all these guys.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm a little concerned with the health of Kershaw. Just every year he's gonna miss a month. It's almost a guarantee. And then Tony Gonsolin, it's not like he's not built up. It's that he hurt his ankle and apparently he's having the worst ankle injury of all time. That's going to keep him out for another month. I don't know what happened there. I mean, LeBron James is going to come back before him at this rate. So
it's always something, man.
I don't get it.
And then when he's better, he needs a month to build up.
So
pitch the damn ball.
But yeah, it's exciting. The Dodgers have options, it feels like. So if someone else does go down, there are some youngsters in the rotation, and not Jordan Yamamoto because he retired 2 weeks into spring training, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that's going to we'll bookmark that for the end of the year worst host take or whatever. What I don't know, I forget what we call it, but that was a huge fat L.
Your guy.
Yamamoto. And not only did he not make the team, he fucking retired. What the hell?
It's over. He was just like, you know what? It's over.
Oh my God.
Talk some World Baseball Classic, changing subjects for a few minutes. USA is the silver medal. They lost to Japan, who had the best run in the entire tournament.
They did.
In this case, the better team did win, as much as it pains me to say as a fellow Patriot. Japan.
No, it didn't.
Of course it. Wait, what? They were the best team.
Japan was not better than the United States team.
Of course they were. They had the best pitching.
In no universe were they better.
Well, they played head-to-head and won, so apparently it's in this universe, bro.
Well, that happens. Anybody can beat anybody head-to-head one time.
I don't think that's true.
Of course it is.
Are you going just based on the talent, like on paper?
Talent.
Japan beat Mexico. Mexico beat the U.S. Japan beat the U.S.
What did we have? Brady Singer pitching? Like, what are we doing? If the United States played Mexico again, I think that would be a different result.
I don't know. That was a tightly contested game too. But the point is, Japan had the best pitching staff. And where I was going with it was that there were a lot of question marks with the U.S. pitching staff entering this entire tournament. Turns out it wasn't actually the issue. It was hitting with freaking runners in scoring position, just like my Dodgers nightmares season after season. What do we have? An 0 for? Like 0 for 6, 0 for 7. Mookie Betts had a fine game until the 9th inning. He grounded into a costly double play.
Oh.
Mike Trout went 1 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Paul Goldschmidt might as well have been AJ Pollock. He went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Just no answer. Kyle Schwarber had a home run off Yu Darvish. I forget the other run because I'm so fired up.
Trey Turner.
Right, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was going to get into him later. Yes. So Trey Turner went deep. But yeah, Ohtani came in, closed it out, struck out Mike Trout. People hyping it up like this is the greatest at-bat of all time. I mean, it was cool, but it wasn't that awesome. Ohtani went on to win the MVP. Yu Darvish.
Wait a minute. How do you not? Wait, why don't you think it was that awesome? It was
Just
pretty
because
awesome.
Of the result?
No, because of.
No, I'm asking him. It wasn't awesome just because of the result, or what?
Like the narrative was awesome, but like the at-bat itself wasn't really that great. It was like
It was a 3-2. It was 3-2.
Ohtani had every pitch was pretty much perfect.
He challenged Trout with 2 fastballs right down the middle at 100+ miles an hour, and he couldn't touch it.
And the slider
the 3-2 slider. I mean, who's touching that? Who's touching that? Nobody.
It wasn't the greatest at bat of all time, which is what some people were deeming it.
No, you're not. You're looking at it in a vacuum. You've got to look at it in the totality of what we were witnessing, which was the so-called greatest player in Major League Baseball, Mike Trout, being taken out by now what people are considering the new greatest player in Major League Baseball and the world, Shohei Ohtani, who, by the way, was the DH the entire game and then trotted out to the bullpen to warm up and strike out one of the best hitters we've ever seen. That's what you have to look at.
Well, yeah. Yeah, so that is why Ohtani was the well-deserved MVP because of everything he did.
I think that Yoshida guy got snubbed, honestly.
I looked at the stats. Ohtani batted like 430 or something with a crazy on base.
And he was electric on the mound.
Yeah, he did it all. Like, that might have been the best World Baseball Classic tournament performance ever.
It was the best World Baseball Classic ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that for a second? Like, that
Go ahead.
was so great. As a baseball fan, this is everything you've ever wanted in a tournament.
Almost.
You have, well, I mean,
I want our best pitchers to pitch.
Yes, we can get into that. But I'm saying, in terms of the viewership, that last game, they're saying that it was the most viewed baseball game ever. I mean, constantly you had, just, especially like, outside the United States, you had viewership just through the roof. Millions and millions and millions of people were tuning in for the group round, for every single round. I was at a number of the games. Kevin was too, in Arizona at Chase Field. That place was rocking, and the Diamondbacks haven't felt that since 2001. But this was even bigger than that. I mean, the Mexico-United States game where they just boat raced us and killed us. Why were we starting Nick Martinez? I don't know.
Then sent his ass home.
Yeah, and left Brady Singer out there to die and Daniel Bard out to die, whatever. But it was one of the most electric crowds I've ever been a part of. And that's what baseball should be about. That's what this is exactly what baseball wanted. What Major League Baseball wanted was this kind of attention in a game in freaking March. This was the greatest World Baseball Classic ever. I'm so happy about how it went and how it was perceived and how everybody was talking about it. And it can only go up from here. I think they do need to make some tweaks, like, maybe having the USA have its best pitchers there. I mean, there were just too many restrictions on the players. And I understand, major league clubs are worried about their players and all of that. But you have the basically the most stacked lineup USA's ever had. But the pitching was just so bad that, well, it wasn't so bad, but it could have been a lot better.
Yeah. And what I want to say is, like, why don't they have, like, the top pitching prospects pitching it? If you're not going to send, Shane Bieber and Shane McClanahan and Zach Wheeler and Nola and Burns and all these guys, why don't you call up the top pitching prospects and have that be their spring training? Why not? Gavin Stone could pitch for Team USA. I'll tell you that much.
Yep.
Would you rather watch Gavin Stone? Who do you think would have better results, Brady Singer or Gavin Stone? I know my answer.
Yeah, but that was weird with Brady Singer. I don't know why he was on the roster to begin with. But
it's because a lot of guys had to bail out. Nestor Cortez tweaked something. Somebody else, Logan Webb. Logan Webb was going to be our ace. But shout out to Lance Lynn, by the way.
Oh, what a baller!
Yeah,
he was great.
Love him on the Dodgers.
Also, the back end of the USA bullpen was unbelievable. David Bednar, Devin Williams, Presley.
Mm-hmm.
Underrated Presley is, I think.
He is. He's really good.
A lot of people are not really talking about him that much outside of Houston.
Astros.
Well, yeah, but he's insanely good.
No one wants to give them
so
props.
solid as a closer. So solid.
I was impressed with Mexico's run, though. I wasn't expecting them to get that far. They played with a lot of heart, and I respect the shit out of that team for that run.
Well,
and also for beating known terrorist Marcus Stroman, sending his ass home. Thank you, my Mexican brothers and sisters. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Yes, and with the whole story of Randy Arozarena becoming a Mexican citizen to play for them, that was electric. So cool. He's so cool. Him. I was there. He was signing autographs during a pitching change in the outfield. I mean, just so cool. And like Joey Meneses, that guy's a monster. The Mexico had a really great run. Unfortunately,
pitched well.
What about
Sandoval
Trey Turner?
was great. Well, hold on. Sandoval was great. Julio Urias, not so much. But he always kind of has a slow start to begin the year anyway. But yeah, Trey Turner.
Trey Turner was the World Baseball Classic hero for the Americans. If the World Baseball Classic was played in October, I don't know how he would have done, but apparently he's Mr. March, because that grand slam against Silvino Brancho was, as he said, the biggest moment of his career, and this guy won a World Series.
Yeah, and that game against Venezuela was the best game for USA.
Yeah,
just
for sure.
the best. I mean, the fact that they got down, they came back, the Trey Turner grand slam. Oh my God, what a moment for him! It was an incredible moment.
One of the worst pitches I've ever seen thrown.
0-2 right down the middle.
Ever. 0-2 hanging slider, middle aorta of the plate, 87 miles an hour, just on a platter, on a silver platter. One of the worst pitches I've ever seen thrown in any level of any sport.
Yes, it was. It was crazy how Team USA kind of kicked it in high gear after getting bitch slapped by Mexico. They just elevated their game when they got out of the group round. It was like they turned it up a notch, and that was great to see because Trey Turner in the group stage was not so great. Yeah, he had a home run, but his defense was bad.
He got benched.
He got benched for Tim Anderson. And then in the group round, when he kind of got reinserted, I think it was the last game against Colombia, he got reinserted into the lineup. And from that point on, he was solid as ever at shortstop and just was hotter than, Mars.
Hotter than Mars.
I think Mars is pretty cold.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say.
I meant to say
Mercury.
Mercury?
Yeah, or the sun. Let's go with the sun. The sun's pretty hot from what I hear.
You're going the wrong way in this orbit.
Yeah, Nick Martinez is more like Mars.
Yeah,
he's Mars in October.
I only took astrology 101, or astronomy. There we go.
You're just taking L's.
I would just quit while you're behind, honestly.
Yeah, this is my last podcast, guys.
On space, yes,
right.
It should be.
We only got a few more minutes. Let's answer one more question coming from Catch the Blues. Predict the Dodgers record over the first 50 games.
I'll go 30-20.
30-20. I'll go 500. I don't think they're going to start off too hot.
Like 500 even?
Yep.
Like 25-25?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 40-10.
What
the hell?
Yeah, they're gonna start out hot. You'll see.
That's not good for the second half.
Why not?
If you can get to 30 games above 500, I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, they're gonna be hotter than Mars. They will.
I would hope so.
Book it right now. The Dodgers are winning 120 games, I guess.
Okay, I know we're like almost done talking about the World Baseball Classic, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up. Can we talk about just humor me for 60 seconds? Ben Verlander's the biggest loser ever. Literally ever. And I know I've talked about him like 4 times, but that one tweet where someone like filmed his reaction to Japan beating Mexico and he captioned it like, must watch my reaction to Japan winning. It's just like, I can't do it anymore. I'm at the point where like, I think I have to block him. I think I just have to not see his content. I can't take it anymore. It's driving me literally insane how much of a dweeb this guy is.
Yeah, he's a big wiener.
That's why there's a mute button.
No, I don't think mute is serious enough. I think I need to block him.
It's just the whole thing is self-indulgent. The whole thing. And that documentary that they aired before, I didn't watch it, but I couldn't.
I just can't take it anymore. Somebody's got to stop him. Somebody's got to. Why are we just letting this happen?
All right, Dave, you're new to this. We're going to cover this in 1 minute. This week, we're doing 2010 Dodgers prospects. Hit or miss. Alan Webster.
Who?
Who the hell is that?
I think they traded him in that Red Sox trade, but could be wrong. But he was a miss.
Yeah.
We covered Ivan DeJesus last week. Miss. Here's a guy I never heard of. Garrett Gold.
Nope.
Never heard of him. Number 7, Andrew Lambeau. We talked about him as a miss. 3rd year in a row. Scott Elbert in the top 10. We gave him an okay. Josh Lindblom talked about him last week. He was a miss. Number 4, never heard of Aaron Miller. Sounds like a football player. Huge miss. Number 3, Ethan Martin. Definitely a miss. Number 2, Chris Withrow. Huge bust. And number 1, D. Gordon was the Dodgers' top prospect in the year 2010.
He was good for a minute.
Yeah, he was a hit for sure.
He was good. So 2 out of the 10 prospects panned out for the Dodgers in the year 2010. Any final thoughts?
You got any favorite planets, Jake?
Pluto.
Is that still a planet?
I said that on purpose.
Oh, okay. I feel like they've waffled.
No,
They've
it's
gone back and forth with that.
Dwarf planet.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get you some space. I'll send you some space documentaries. You need to tighten this up.
No, I'm good.
Come on, dude. It's the final frontier.
I'm not making any more fucking
All right,
space
well-
references.
If we were going to talk about space, we should just talk about Space Jam because this is a waste of time.
How is talking about space a waste of time?
Because he doesn't even know where the planets are organized.
Well, I think he's figured it out at this point.
Yeah. I'm a waste of space, I guess.
Final thoughts are that the Dodgers are very close to finalizing their opening day roster. Hopefully everyone can stay healthy. Seems like someone's getting hurt in different camps every day. So we had our blow already. So that's it, I hope. And I'm excited. This is going to be a great 2023 season for the Dodgers. A lot of youth movement. 2 rookies potentially starting on opening day with Miguel Vargas and James Outman. So the youth movement is here. The kids are finally playing. And your Los Angeles Dodgers are 1 week away, literally 1 week away from playing the Arizona Diamondbacks here at Dodger Stadium with probably Julio Urias on the mound. So next week, we'll do a full 2023 Dodgers season preview. We'll drop all our bold takes. We'll talk about the division winners, throw out all the predictions, you name it. That's the big one. Then we'll review it, see what we got right, what we got wrong. So do yourselves a favor, subscribe to the Incline Dodgers wherever you listen or watch us on YouTube, follow us on social media. And on that note, David, Jake, any final words you want to throw out there?
Just disregard my final 5 minutes of this podcast. Just listen to the first bit.
Well, that does anybody any good.
Does me sound good.
I'm good.
Thank you guys for listening. Have a great week. Have a great weekend, and go Dodgers. The proud sponsor of the Incline Dodgers podcast, Tickpick. Opening day is literally a week away, and what better place to get the most competitive tickets out there on the market for the best pricing that is than Tickpick. You download the app, look up the price for the tickets that you want to purchase, the Dodgers, I hope. No service fees at checkout, so that's the final price you're going to pay over at Tickpick. It's not just Dodgers. You can go see your favorite team wherever that team may be located, as well as your favorite concert, your favorite NBA team, NHL team. The playoffs are nearly here for both the Stanley Cup and basketball. So all you got to do is download the Tickpick app, go see your favorite team, concert, musician, and no service fees at checkout. It's that simple.